Welcome back, my friends. So I'd like to start by kind of recapping what we talked about last night. More specifically, my intention last night was to explain the basics of how this works. And we talked a little bit about the neuroscience. We talked about a little bit about Newtonian physics. We talked a little bit about the quantum physics. And what we said is that on the atomic level and subatomic level, we know that matter is only 0.000001%. And 99.99999% is space, is nothing. So everything that this universe, including you and me, are made out of or is made out of, the atom on the smallest level, it turns out that matter is only a very, very small percentage of the reality. Everything else is space. But that space is not nothing. That space is filled with information. That space is filled with frequency. And that space works on completely different laws. Those laws are completely different than Newtonian laws of physics, the world of matter. So you cannot apply the same way of thinking into that world because those laws no longer work. So what I want to teach you is the laws of the space, right? What we call nothing. Because once you master the laws, you'll become unstoppable, you guys. That's when because in that space, you're closer to the unified field. You're not separate anymore. The world of separation is the world of matter. I am separate than you, right? In the world of matter, there is distance, there is space from point A to point B, will always, always, always take you time and energy, right? So it's because our physical world is a world of separation. When you tap into the world of quantum, which we are a part of, but in the quantum, there is no separation. We're all a part of the unified field. And if there is no separation, just reason this with me. If there is no separation, that means your thoughts can manifest immediately. Reason it with me. When there is no separation, your thoughts can manifest into the reality just like that. So Newtonian laws of physics no longer apply. This is what I call a freaking miracle, a synchronicity. What should have taken you freaking 15 years to build and achieve happens just like that. So that to me is really exciting. And today I'm going to share with you lots of stories from my own experience and hopefully to show you that it is possible. And once you know, if I can do it, you can totally do it. And I'll tell you one more thing, these tools work, but they only work if you work them. You can't just do this weekend and be like, oh, that was neat, and never do it again. No. This is everyday discipline, everyday practice. And the more you practice, the better you get at it. So let me, again, I'm going off of a tangent. That's why I take notes for myself, Albina, stay anchored. So let me go back to, what we also, hopefully you saw clearly that in our everyday life, we focus all of our attention on 0.00001%, and which is matter. That's the world of the familiar. That's the world of the predictable, right? And because you're so focused, you're so into your thoughts, 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. 95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts you had yesterday. Ultimately, you're running the same loop and you don't even realize it. You don't know that 99.999% exists because you're so focused on 0.0001. It's that's how your brain works. Like that. Remember that example yesterday? Look at everything that is red. Now close your eyes. Tell me everything that was blue. If you're only focused on red, you simply cannot see blue. Are you with me? Give me some jazz hands. That's the way your brain works. So when you only focus on the world of matter, the people in your life that you know, the stuff that happened, you're trying to control, predict your future, you don't even know it does not exist for you. 99% of reality does not exist for you. So my wish, my desire, my intention for us all is to take this, hopefully not as colossal efforts, but I'll teach you how to overcome yourself and literally manhandle your attention off of 0.0001% and direct it into actually what is the vast majority. That is the unified field. In that 99.999% of reality, this is physics. It's not any like new agey BS. It's physics. Once you put your attention there, that is where all the possibilities exist. And in that world, the observer effect is always in place. This is quantum physics. I'm not making this up. The observer effect, meaning you as an observer has absolutely all the power to affect how matter manifests. Does it make sense? The observer has all the power. What does the observer effect mean? It means you create your reality. You shape your destiny. But so far, you have been creating your reality in an unconscious way, kind of like on autopilot, just like your body can sit down into the car and drive you places. You're not there. Your body is like a robot doing it because it knows how to do it on your own. Are you with me? So the observer effect is something that the Buddhists have known for centuries, whatever, millennia. The Buddhists call it interdependent co-arising. Write this down, interdependent co-arising. Interdependent co-arising means as viewed, so it appears. As viewed, so it appears, meaning the way you look at the world is how the world will appear for you. That's observer effect. So let me talk a little bit about the energy. So 99.9999% space, nothing. It's actually loaded with energy. It's loaded with frequencies. Just like right now, where I'm just in a freaking room. I don't know, like I cannot sense that there are like all these electromagnetic fields and frequencies happening, radio waves. Like, I don't know, I can't see it, I can't touch it, but my freaking phone can catch it, right? If I had a radio right now, my radio can catch the waves. Do you understand? The same with this 99.9% of space, it's loaded with information. And our bodies is innately wired to decipher that information. Just like a QR code, right? The phone can read it. Your body innately has all the mechanisms to read that information. But because we're so focused on 0.0001%, we never tap, most of us never tap into that ability. So the moment, you know, the science shows that when we use less than 5% of our brains, you guys know that, right? We use less than 5% of our brains. That means the vast majority of our capabilities stay as a latent DNA within us. Most of us never tap into that. So today, like, I want to teach you at least how to at least become open to something else. So in today's yoga class, I kept saying, sense it, because it is a skill that you can develop. It's a skill. Some people call it intuition, some people call it inner knowing, but everybody has it. But if you're constantly in your head, you're thinking, your analytical mind is overactive, you're living under the hormones of stress, you kind of, not that you lose those abilities, but they lose their strength. Am I making sense? So the whole idea, and hopefully you will be inspired enough as a result of our time together. My hope for you is that you'll learn how to turn the volume down on your analytical mind and tap into sensing, because that's how you tap into the frequencies, information, knowing beyond the logical mind. And I can show you again, again, and again in my life. Since we're talking about abundance, I've built many successful businesses like this. I sold them in perfect timing. I did it in a way when people told me it's impossible. People laughed at me. They said, you will never going to be able to do it. You're a fool. I'm like, oh, really? Let me show you. So I want to show you. I want to teach you how to do it. Okay, let us take a deep breath in. Okay, so let's talk about energy. So most people think that matter, we only can create from matter. And they're working hard, they're pushing through, they're getting burned down. So just know that when you're working hard and you're pushing through, you're only connected to the world of matter. In the world of matter, Newtonian laws of physics apply. It's always going to take a long time, and it will always going to take lots of energy. What I'm here to tell you, there is a different way of creation, and that is what we call energy to matter creation. Reason this with me. If 99.999% of reality is energy, and only 0.00001% is matter, what creates what? I mean, come on, you don't have to be an Einstein to kind of deduce that. It's freaking energy that creates matter. We as people in our human experience, we think the only way to create is matter to matter. So we work hard, we push through, we get burned down, we get frustrated, but we're muscling our way through. And we're still stuck in 0.001%. Please give me something. Give me Jassy and something that you're following. So once you learn how to create from energy, you collapse time. It's literally something that should have taken you 30 years, takes you 3 months. If you don't believe me, there are different studies and research that shows that can prove that energy creates matter. Now, I'm a type of person, I'm not very analytical, you guys. I can turn on my analytical mind, but I'm more of an intuitive person. So like to me, I listen to the research and the studies, but it kind of like, oh yeah, that's nice, that is proven. So if you really insist, I can dig up the study for you. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I can dig it up for you from the books and stuff. But I'll tell you, Joe Dispenza in his lectures teaches that there was a study done, I think it's in the 50s or 60s. I don't remember the doctor's name, but he was playing with some machine that measures the energy field around all the living objects. So first he started measuring the energy field around eggs. And he always found out that no matter what, 100% of the time, the egg, one end of the egg has a positive charge and the other end of the egg has a negative charge. Whenever you have a positive and the negative, what happens? There is an electromagnetic field around the egg. Do you understand? Plus and minus. Please, like, take a deep breath. Recall the days from physics, high school physics. Plus minus makes an electromagnetic field. Then he started like studying not only chicken eggs, but duck eggs, bird, pigeon eggs, salamander eggs. Then he started studying like the salamanders themselves. And he found out like everybody has plus and minus. That means every living body has an electromagnetic field around them. So he started measuring that. And he went deeper and deeper into the research. And first he was like measuring the field around the leaf, like a tree leaf, you know. And what he found out was that even if a part of the leaf is cut off, the energy field around the half of the leaf is still full leaf. Give me some jazz hands if you're with me. Now this is like, okay, Nina, why should I give a crap about, why should I care, right? Well, here's a go. What he started doing next is fascinating. He started measuring the field around human bodies, and his subject was actually women with uterine cancer. And what he found out was like the women who had cancer, their energy field 100% of the time, maybe Dr. Burr, maybe Jill, I don't know. I don't remember the name. But the women who had uterine cancer, 100% of the time, their energy field also had cancer. Then he started studying about women who were genetically predisposed to have uterine cancer. And what he found out is that some women physically had no disease in their bodies, but their energy field around their bodies had cancer. In those cases, 100% of the time, those women ended up having cancer. The energy creates matter. Energy creates matter. So now listen to this. 100% of the time, if cancer was in the energy field, it always manifested in the physical body. So Dr. Joe Dispenza uses this data, and we do coherence healing sessions. And we do that as a community around the world because consciousness is not local. We literally focus on the energy field around a person. And all these people are all over the world. This is so trippy. We focus on clearing the energy field around their bodies, and that's the way they heal. It's fascinating to me. It's so fascinating to me. But anyway, this is outside the scope of my, this is about money, abundance. This workshop is about abundance. But that to me is interesting because everything in this universe is energy. Because it's 99.999% of reality. And energy creates matter. So just write it down. Energy creates matter. Under stress, you will want to push through and work harder. But in those moments, especially when you're under stress and you're trying to muscle your way through a difficult situation, remember, energy creates matter. You have to shift your point of view, your mindset, and the way you look at things and tap into the world of energy in order to shift matter. Because your natural knee-jerk reaction will want to do things, work harder, try to muscle your way through in this physical reality, and it's actually the slowest way. Because in separation, the vibration is really, really slow. Okay, let me take a deep breath. Do you have any questions right now? Now, I know I'm kind of going fast through these things. The most important thing that you need to remember, energy creates matter. The world of quantum works in different sets of laws and rules than the physical world. Once you understand the rules, the theory, the knowledge of it will set you up for the experience of it. You cannot have the experience without the knowledge. That is why I'm doing my best right now to explain to you the fundamentals of the physics and mechanisms of how it works. At some point, it will all come together in a meditation, because up until the point that you have the experience in meditation, all of it stays as theory and knowledge. And I want to say it's useless until you have the experience, but it is not useful. It's not useless because the knowledge is the precursor to the experience. Without the knowledge, without the theory, you cannot have the experience. And the knowledge will help you have the experience. But I also acknowledge that at this point in time, it's just knowledge for you until it all connects the dots in an experience. Okay. Let's get to the gist of it. Let me talk a little bit about, so if everything in this universe is energy, it is 99.999% of our reality, and energy creates matter. The world of energy affects everything. The world of energy works on different laws than the world of matter. Money is energy. Everything is energy. I'm going to tell you the energetic laws of money. But I want to expand it beyond money and make it a little bit bigger scope. because money in itself is really neutral. But we all have layers and layers and layers of beliefs, stories, unexamined beliefs around money. We all do. Every single person in here does. So I want to expand your understanding of abundance and wealth beyond money, because it is way larger than just money. So when I talk about abundance, you can talk about wealth, you can talk about prosperity. All of those things are interchangeable. So let's expand the understanding of wealth beyond money. Wealth, it can be a wealth of health, abundance of health. It can be abundance of time. Wealth is the abundance of joy. It's an abundance of knowledge, abundance of opportunities, abundance of synchronicities, being somewhere at the right time, at the right place. Do you understand? Abundance of love, abundance of it's just of confidence, charisma. Do you understand? Do you start expanding? So understand that abundance as wealth, you need to look at it beyond money, because money is very limiting on its own. You have to understand that true abundance is beyond money. It's actually multidimensional wealth. It's abundance of, it's all of it. And in order for you to have a truly abundant life, all these areas of your life have to be flowing, because the energy always, it needs to flow in order for you to experience true abundance. Let me pause right now. Any questions? So like Yara, Stacy, you were at my Manifest at Shit Retreat in Austin. Remember how we did a Wheel of Life? If you've never done a Wheel of Life, you can Google it, and it's just like all over the internet. So in a Wheel of Life, we measure our level in the area of health, finances, fulfillment, creativity, relationships, love. It's just a different way to look at abundance and wealth. It needs to be well-rounded. It needs to be multidimensional in order for you to truly experience abundance, wealth, prosperity. Yesterday, we talked about, don't just think about money. Think of abundance as freedom and opportunities, right? And once you focus on freedom and opportunities, money will follow. I'm going a little bit ahead of myself because what I'm saying right now is important, right? I'm going to talk a little bit about it today, but I don't want to go ahead of myself just yet, because I need to prepare you in correct timing for what is yet to come in a meditation today. So let me start with the absolute basics of the flow of abundance in your life. So anytime I say flow of abundance, what I mean by that is money is energy, because everything is energy, and energy needs to flow. That's just the law. The energy must flow. It's when the energy is no longer flowing, that's when we start running into problems. So my background is yoga, and I've worked with thousands and thousands of different bodies. What I will tell you from my experience is anytime a person has a disease or has difficulty with their health, I can tell you that that part of their body is always super tight. It's very dense, and they have very difficult time breathing into that part of their bodies. And I can tell you that somehow the energy is not moving through that part of their body. But I also know that through my 20 years in yoga, if I teach them how to breathe into that part of their body that is injured or where is pain, if they start breathing into that their part of their bodies, the energy starts moving. And once the energy starts moving, that's when the pain is alleviated. And a lot of times they can heal that part of it, whether it is injury or whatever. It's just once the energy moves, most of the time, I mean, all the time, if they learn how to move energy, they're going to heal. So the same with money. There are certain things that energetically block the flow of money. And once you kind of understand it and you start embodying these principles, I promise you money will start flowing into your life. Remember, knowledge is the precursor to the experience. Now I'm going to talk about these fairly quickly. I did give you access to my 5-day abundance challenge. You have that in your email. I suggest that you go back and listen to that course 5-10 times. I created that course maybe 5 years ago when I was working on mastering these basic principles. And the way I master something, I've usually just if it's a book or a course that I'm taking, I usually do it at least 5-10 times. And then I create my own interpretation of my knowledge so that I can integrate it and deliver it through my own words. So once is not enough, you guys. At least maybe I'm super dense and slow. I don't know. Maybe for you, it's enough to do it once. But in my experience, I usually have to do it multiple times. So I encourage you to go and listen to that course at least a couple of times. But I'm also going to go through it right here and now. So let me name a few very common blocks to abundance flow and how to open up that flow. And you'll find that a lot of these laws, the universal laws of abundance or spiritual laws of abundance and flow and prosperity, they're very similar to what you find in all the major spiritual books in the world. All the major spiritual books, religions already talk about these laws. So when I'm about to tell you this, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I knew that one. But today I'm connecting it to you to money, because everything in this world is energy and it has to flow. So you're welcome to take notes, because anytime you take notes, you're 80% more likely to retain information rather than just listening. The first block to your abundance flow of money into your life is the lack of deserving. I don't know if you caught in last night's meditation, Joe Dispenza said, the universe will always give you only what you think you're worthy of receiving. Okay, so it's just the flip side of that same law. So anytime you feel like you are not worthy, you're blocking the flow of abundance into your life. Now, this one is really, really subtle, you guys. It's so subtle. And that's why, to me, meditation is the most powerful way to learn yourself ultimately. Because when you sit down and you get really quiet and still, you start noticing your habitual patterns of thinking. If you read any of my emails or social media posts, I'll tell you a story about my own life. And it not necessarily has to do with money, but just know that everything is energy, and it has to do more with love. So I remember it was now 22 years ago that I met my husband, Roger. I'm going to tell you how old I am now. I was 21 years old. I was 21 and I met him, and I was just like head over heels with him right away from the moment I saw him. And I remember I felt like I was not worthy of him. I thought like I was not pretty enough, skinny enough, smart enough, well-read enough, worldly enough to be with like this hot, good-looking, successful, worldly, well-read man. And I remember like I didn't even talk, because I thought like if I just shut up, I'm not going to say anything stupid. And I just totally felt like unworthy of him. And the other day, actually, a couple of months ago, we were in Houston, and he was somehow dug up his old like flash drive, and he found a poem he wrote to me right around the time we met. And I remember he sent me that poem, and I read it. And you know what my first thought was like, oh, he probably gives this poem to every girl that he meets. Because like I didn't even consider that he could have written that poem to me. And now 22 years later, I looked at that poem, I was like, oh my gosh, like that was for me. I know it was for me, but I remember that I did not take it in. And as a result, you guys, I thought that back then, I thought that Roger was non-committal, that he was not ready to settle down, that he did not want to give up his freedom and get married. As a result, we had so many problems in the beginning. What I know now is like, I actually, it was because of me. I mean, some of it is his stuff too, but it was also because of me. I did not feel worthy of his love. And therefore, we had such a hard time in the beginning. We broke up. There were like trust issues. There was just like betrayal. There was just so many problems in the beginning. Is this helpful at all? So just know that everything in your life is a reflection of your self-worth. If you feel like you're not deserving and you're not worthy, the law, it's a law. God cannot break your free will. If you insist on something, the universe will always obey because it is the law. If you insist that you're not worthy of love, blessings, success, money, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, quantum field, they cannot break that. You cannot break the free will. So this one, we can spend a month just on this one. Lack of deserving, because it's a biggie. It's your worth. And the universe, just know that the universe always will reflect a mirror back to you exactly what you feel worthy. Let me give you another example so you understand. I'm giving you a practical life example. This one has to do with money. When I opened Yoga One, I was good. Like now looking back, I can tell how good I was. I'm an excellent yoga teacher. I can heal people. I can inspire people. I can help people. And I'm great at business. Now I can look back, now that I'm wiser, and I could tell like, dang, I'm a badass. But back then, internally, I felt like it was wrong for me to be financially successful and have my yoga business thrive financially, because somehow in my effed up brain, I thought that I cannot be in this modality of yoga healing, helping people, and charge money for it and be rich. That's when God steps up and gives you grace anyway. I still managed, thank you very much, but I could have been more. I could have been even wealthier. I could have been even more prosperous. I could have been even more abundant, because that block was blocking the freaking flow. And now I can see it clearly. Now I don't have that glitch. And now I'm like, yeah, I can be exceptional at yoga, at healing. I can help people. I can give everything that I know from my heart like I do right now. And I can be rich at the same time. As a matter of fact, it's the law of circulation. It's another spiritual law. I'm going to talk about the law of circulation in just a moment. I'm going to pause right now. Does this make sense? Now, this one is very, very subtle because you don't know, you're not aware what goes on inside of you. That's why meditation is really effective, because in those moments when you sit with yourself, you start seeing your patterns. And like, I still work with my self-worth every single day. And you know what? I still judge myself. I still feel like, for me, like I have to work hard in order to earn my keep. I still have those old patterns come up. And every time it comes up, and my meditation helps me become aware and catch myself when it comes up. Yes, go ahead, Laura.
Will that ever go away? That self-doubt,
Yeah.
all that. Will that ever go away?
Well, Laura, I can give you, I mean, that's why you know, some people say that's your karmic path. We come back to this world because we still have karma to burn. Maybe, maybe when it goes away, you don't have to come back anymore as a human. A Course in Miracles says, Course in Miracles, a book, it's a spiritual, mystical book. It says that it talks about the end of the world. The end of the world, according to the Course of Miracles, is love. When we learn how to love, ultimately love ourselves, that's when the world ends. We don't have to come back anymore. Because then we become one with the source. Girl, I just got goosebumps all over. That's the end of the world. When we finally learn how to love ourselves and know our own worth, that is when the world is going to end. It will end in love. Is that helpful? So it's not something that you like, oh, I did a course with Albina, now I love myself and I feel worthy. I wish it was that simple. We have a lifetime to learn. We have many lifetimes to learn, and hopefully you can do a lot of that work in this lifetime now. Yes. So my everyday meditations are, how can I love myself more? Okay. So that one is a biggie. Okay. And we can spend a lot of time just on lack of self-deserving. But just know, like on the very basic level, anytime you catch yourself or like feeling like you are not enough, just know that you're blocking the flow of abundance into your life. Pause, take a deep breath, congratulate yourself. Oh, good job catching yourself, and make a new choice. Remind yourself that you're a child of God, that you're a unique creation of the divine, that inherently you are worthy. God made you in a perfect way, exactly the way you are, or whatever you believe in, whatever your belief system is. Okay, I'm going to go through these a little bit quicker. The second block to your abundance is that there is not enough. There is not enough wealth to go around. Now, this is like absolutely is rooted in lack. Do you understand? Like, let me give you an example from my own life. When I opened my first yoga studio, we were very successful. And then the competitors started coming into the market. And some of our yoga students started quitting membership in our studio and going to the competitor. And I remember feeling like not enough, like they're not enough. They're stealing my yoga students. And then it is Roger. I have to do all these, read all the books, do all the courses, meditate until I'm blue in the face every day. Freaking my husband just freaking woke up like this. He already knows. This is why karma, Laura. We all have different karmic paths, but my husband already woke up like this. He's like, Albina, let me tell you something. Instead of focusing on, oh, big yoga is stealing my clients, big yoga is stealing my students, he's like, look at freaking millions of people in Houston who can come to your yoga studio. Don't look at like whatever 10,000 people who do yoga right now. Look at 7 million who are not yet doing yoga. Do you understand? So we oftentimes get into this patterns like there is not enough. I need to hold on. There is not enough opportunities. We get competitive. We compete with each other. We're just like, we get so, out of all the infinite possibilities in the universe, we get so attached to one. I want one man. I want one raise. I want this job. I want this house. I want just this, instead of like opening up and seeing that, oh my gosh, that there's so much more in this world. The moment you expand your consciousness, expand, period, all the opportunities start coming into your life. Give me a head and nod. Do you understand? Okay, can we move forward? Can you give me some examples? Let's make it a little bit interactive. When you hear there is not enough, whenever you feel lack, there is not enough of something, just know that you're blocking the flow of abundance into your life. Give me an example from your own life. What is not enough mentality?
Comparison.
Comparison, yes. Tell me more about that, Carolina.
I think I am 25 years old, and so I'm mainly a lot on social media due to work.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get lost in, the success of others, and you start to compare yourself. Well, I'm 25, they're 25. How come they're doing a lot better than me?
Yeah.
And so then I start to, feel like, okay, well, I need to do this, and this in order to get there. But there's also that side of me where it's like, it's not enough.
Yeah. Well, here we go. Thank you so much, Carolina. You just nailed what is it, on the head, whatever the expression is. You're actually tied in lack of deserving. There is not enough. And how we tend to get stuck in the world of matter. You just summed it up in one example. When we feel like we're not enough, and usually it will come when we start comparing ourselves. We get super stressed out. And then our knee-jerk reaction under stress is to work harder. And we get deeper and deeper into the world of matter. And we just said that in the world of matter, it will always, it's a law. Just like you jump out of the second-story building, you're going to break something. It's a law. In the world of matter, it will always take you a long time and a lot of energy to get stuff done. And your knee-jerk reaction will always go into stress and work harder, push through or give up. But I'm here to remind you there is a different way. There is a better way. Okay. Thank you. Give me one more. There is not enough resources. So the block is there's not enough resources. There's not enough opportunities to go around. So as viewed, so it appears. Like, let me apply it to the world of dating. If you believe that all the good ones are taken, if you truly believe that, as viewed, so it appears, the world will present itself to you as there is all the good ones have already been taken. Am I making sense a little bit at all? If you're thinking like clients, students, opportunities, instead of thinking like I have to get this client or whatever, there are just so much, there's so much more. But there will always be limited number of clients if you look at it as there's not enough clients. Jail.
Time.
Yeah, there is not enough time. It's another good one. There's not enough time. Well, didn't I tell you I'm like obsessed with this, like the mystical? There is another course that I teach, and it's all about time. Our human experience of time is very limiting. There are tools, there are disciplines, there are practices that teach you how to, when you step into the flow, you can stretch out time. Because time is our perception. It's not actually how time is. And if you don't believe me, I think you can relate to, everybody had an instant in their life when, like when you're having a good time, maybe it's like you're with a lover or with a really great friend, and like 5 hours fly by and it seems like it's only been like 10 minutes. Yes, give me Jeff's hand. But you've always also been into really boring meeting. And you look at your freaking clock and you thought it was like 30 minutes, but it's only been like 3 minutes. Right? How is it? How is that time can compress or extend for us depending on how we feel? So anyway, there is not enough time is also a lie. It's not true. Every single person on this earth has the same 24 hours in a day. Some people manage to hustle and get shit done. Other people Netflix and chill and don't get anything done. Time in this physical reality is exactly 24 hours. But there is not enough time blocks abundance flow into your life. Okay, let's move on because I can talk about every single one of these for I can create a whole course on that, but we're kind of giving the basics right now. Negative money mindset is the next one. Negative money mindset is a biggie. This is when all of our judgments come up, and if you're not careful, most of us are completely unaware. People judge people with money. People do. My favorite one is you're probably gonna judge me for saying this, but I love Joel Osteen, and he is a rich pastor, and I have no problem with the rich pastor. He changes people's lives. He's good at what he does. I love him. I have no judgment around that. Or for example, so we live in Westlake here in Austin, and there are some really, really wealthy people here. So last weekend, 2 weekends ago, my youngest daughter, Mia, was invited to a birthday party, and the parents are super wealthy. They there was 50 girls. They put them on 2 buses, party buses, and they took them to this part of Austin on the lake at their fancy house or something, whatever. And then we're talking about 12-year-old girls. And then the daughter whose birthday party she was like, I want boys here. So in the middle of the party, she gets bored and she's like, I should have invited boys. So then her dad flies his helicopter back to Austin, gets the boys, and flies the boys to the lake so that the boys can be there at the party. And there are a lot of parents who started judging. They're like, can you believe flying his own helicopter? Such a show off. And even my husband Roger's like, well, that's kind of weird. And I'm like, okay, let's just catch ourselves right now. Are we saying that because we're jealous? What's wrong with it? What is wrong with it? If you have the means, why not fly a helicopter and bring the boys so that your daughter can have a good time? And then the argument can be well, but there are so many poor people, earthquake in Syria and Turkey. I'm like, do you for a fact know? Maybe he already donated $1 million for the Syrian and Turkey efforts. We don't know. Do you understand? The point is not whether or not the rich people can fly their helicopters or whether or not they give, but our judgment of wealthy people is the block to our abundance. That's what I want to say. So if you judge anybody for anything, not just wealthy people, but anybody, just know the moment you judge somebody, you're blocking the flow. If you judge wealthy people, I'm sorry, my friends, you ain't going to be rich ever, because that's the universal law. Judgment and negative money mindset is gonna prevent you from experiencing abundance and love. I can I can do a whole course on negative money mindset. Seriously, I can, but this is the basics. But do you guys see it clearly? Give me some examples, you guys. I want to make it interactive. Do you know because we all do you know of your own negative money mindset?
I think when I was growing up, because we didn't have money, we would have those cliches like money doesn't grow on trees, or, we would put it on credit cards, or, just the things that were preached to me as a child that I had to start unraveling and making sure that I wasn't repeating the same mistakes when I was raising my own children.
That's right. Very similar. Yeah. I catch myself all the time. My kids, I have 2 daughters and they spend money like crazy. And I sometimes would say do you see me pooping out cash right now? And then the moment I say that, I'm like, zip it up. Just zip it up. Like saying, do I poop cash is like really blocking my flow. So instead I say, well, honey, Mia, let's just be mindful. Do you really need Starbucks for the third time today? Really, you don't. We have a coffee machine at home. You can make that shit at home. So like, like reframing. But the moment I say something like money, you think money grows on trees, I stop myself because I know it blocks the flow of prosperity, abundance in my life. Thank you, JL. That's a good example. Okay. Let's just move on because I have so much more to share. But like I said, this is an opportunity for you to go deeper into the course that you have access to, and also journal on that and catch yourself in the moment. Anytime you are in a negative money mindset, just know that you're blocking the flow of money into your life. Oh, this one, clutter, chaos, and drama. This one goes with the vacuum law of prosperity, which states, it's a universal law that states that nothing new can come into your life until you make space for it. So if your house is cluttered, if your closet is full of clothes that you haven't worn in 3 decades, it's just blocking the bandwidth, energetic bandwidth. If you are dating 3 men at the same time, they're just blocking the bandwidth. They are. I like to say this. It kind of applies more to the universal law of vacuum. But I always feel like when I was younger, I would date a guy, and I knew he wasn't the guy. But I'd tell myself, oh, I'll just date this guy until the guy shows up. Wrong. The guy wasn't going to show up, and as long as I was dating this guy who was taking up the bandwidth. Do you understand? So anytime you gossip, anytime you create drama, anytime you have like all that noise in your life, just know that all that noise, that chaos, that clutter is taking up bandwidth. So create space for something new. So last night I asked you, journal on the question, as an abundant person, how do you no longer want to think, feel, and act? Ultimately, what I did is I asked you to create space for you vibing as an abundant person. You can't just like shove in abundance if you don't first make space for it. So give up certain judgments, give up certain patterns, create space in your energetic bandwidth so that you can create abundance. Please give me a jazz hands if you understand what I'm talking about. So this is the universal law of vacuum, law of prosperity at play. You have to make space for it first. You have to first decide how you no longer choose to be, and you have to become something else. Take out the clutter, take out the chaos, take out the drama out of your life, clean out your phone, unfriend people on Facebook. So Carolina, if there are constantly people that you see on your Instagram feed that cause you to like compare and feel some type of way, unfollow, my friend. It's easy. All of a sudden, all of your energetic bandwidth is going to be cleared from feeling shitty about yourself. Thank you. She said it's done. Okay, let's move on. Fear of loss is the next one. Fear of loss. I mean, these are all so subtle, you guys. Fear of loss is something like, some people are afraid that if they become really rich, their friends are going to judge them and not want to hang out with them. Some people think like, oh, if I'm really rich, my life is going to be more complicated. I have to do a complex tax return. I have to worry about where to invest my money. I mean, people make up really effed up stories. Give me some Justin if you understand what I'm talking about. If you were to really sit with it and be like, really reflect on your own money stories, you're going to be like, and you don't know unless you sit down and write it down. Because you're going to be like, what the freak? How? Like, it's like totally illogical. You don't even know it until you write it down. Here's another one from my life. Look, I don't judge wealthy people at all. I think Jeff Bezos is amazing. He created Amazon. I don't know how in the world. Yesterday at 10 a.m., I placed an order for my freaking toner for my printer because I needed to print something. By noon, I had a freaking toner at the front door. I have no idea how he does it, but he does it. Therefore, he's a multi-billionaire gazillionaire. He deserves it. He just created a massive company. I don't know how he does it, but he did it. So I have no judgment of just Jeff Bezos. As a matter of fact, I applaud him. But then there was a moment where I was like, okay, Jeff Bezos is so rich. His company is so successful. And then I just started thinking about like his procurement system. Like, what actually does it take to create a company in which a customer places an order and it's delivered within 2 hours? This is how my brain works. And I started thinking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a pain in the ass. I don't want to do it. Like my brain literally shut down. So in a way, or like my friends right now, Roger just told me our friends are opening the second yoga studio in Austin. And I was like, really amazing. Congratulations. And then I caught myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, they don't even know how much work it's going to take to go from 1 to 2 because I've done it. And then I caught myself like, this is in a way a fear of loss of the simplicity of life. Do you understand? So me, even though I don't want to open a yoga studio ever again, but like a lot of times we're not going into after a possibility or an opportunity that shows up into our life that can open up the flow of abundance in our life, because on some level we're afraid to lose our simplicity of life. This is what I'm trying to say. We get scared, a fear of loss. So if I were to say, if somebody were to say, Albina, start a new company, this is what I'm faced with right now. The moment I start thinking like, oh my gosh, how much work it's going to take, and I'm going to have to give up my simple life right now, that's a block to my abundance. Do you understand? So a fear of loss can show up like that. A fear of loss can show up like, if I'm rich, I'm going to lose all my friends because I'm going to be so much richer than them. Says who? But subconsciously, we have a lot of stories like that. These are just some examples. Can we move on forward? Is this interesting to you guys? Okay, good. The next one is like resentment. This one is this one is like a big turd that is blocking all the flow, you guys. Resentment, unforgiveness, anger will always block the flow of abundance in your life. If you're holding on to resentment, unforgiveness, grudges, no matter who, no matter how, it blocks the flow. So in the course that I shared with you, I give you lots of meditation techniques. So for this one, I have a specific forgiveness meditation. There are so many tools out there. I think I give Ho'oponopono, all of that is on my YouTube channel. Like, just know that if you feel like there is still unforgiveness and resentment in you, you have to clear that stuff. You have to clear that stuff. So let me tell you from my personal life, like at this point in my life, I've developed a lot of like intuitive, I know I can sense energy. I know what blocks my life. So right now I know that I have a lot of unresolved feelings around my father. I just know. I know, and like I have a lot of resistance. I don't even want to explore it. And I know that blocks my flow of abundance into my life. And even though a big part of me is super resistant, next month I'm going to the Hoffman Institute. At Hoffman Institute, they have 2 locations, one in California, one in Connecticut, that helps you explore your familial relationship. It's all deep therapy. It's a 10-day retreat, but I'm committed to clearing whatever the turdy feelings I have around my father. I'm going to clear all that energy because I know with absolute certainty it blocks the flow of abundance into my life. This is my level of commitment. Yes? So just know that whatever you have, unforgiveness, you need to clear that stuff if you want to be rich. JL?
I learned from somebody that my resentments are fear-based. So it follows that you went from fear of loss and then to resentment. And I had to really look at that very carefully before I was convinced, but it's true.
It's true. And as a matter of fact, all of these are interrelated. It's probably on some level, fear of loss is connected to your lack of deserving, your self-worth, all of this stuff. You just know that these are not just independent things. They're all a big freaking mess. It's all interrelated. Because you know how my therapist says, I work with a therapist every week for 2 hours. You know, like if somebody hurt your feelings, somebody said something or did something that really hurt you, and you harbor resentment against that person. Do you know how it all started? If you truly loved yourself, if you truly knew your own worth, it doesn't matter what that person said or did. If you're completely full, that arrow that was shot at you would just fall down. It would never reach you, or it would go below you, above you. Like, you know, that is a Chinese proverb. If somebody shoots an arrow at you, don't be there. Right? But if you fully loved yourself, if you felt worthy, if you felt whole, it doesn't matter what people say or do. When you're at that level of wholeness, nothing can hurt you. But because you lack self-worth, deserving self-love, whatever that person did, you allowed it to hook you and hurt you. And now 10 years later, you're still holding on to that resentment and unforgiveness. And guess who is hurting from all of that? You. In your flow of love, abundance, health, blessings into your life. You did it to yourself to begin with, and you're still 10 years later holding on to that shit, wondering why I'm not rich, I'm not happy, I'm not madly in love. I'm exaggerating, not you, JL. I'm like talking about you as us, all of us. We all do it. Okay, let's move on. These are fun and exciting, but we got to move on. The next one is like, focus on what's missing. Focusing on what's missing blocks your abundance flow. And we all do it because under stress, our tendency is to focus on what's missing, you guys. And the moment you focus on what's missing, you're instantaneously in separation. You're separate from oneness. You're separate from the source. The moment you're in separation, you are deep back in the world of matter. In the world of matter, it's going to take you a lot of time and a lot of energy to get shit done or move through space. Separation. So what's missing? Like on some level, I want to say it's complex, but it's really not. It's really not complex. It's so simple. Let me tell you. And this is kind of will be a segue to this next thing that I'm going to talk about. But let me first say, so let's just say we're talking about money. Let's just say my dream is to have $1 million. I'm just going to simplify it. My dream is to have $1 million, and I really want $1 million. First of all, focusing on $1 million money, it's not going to get you there, right? Remember last night I said, focus on freedom, focus on opportunities. But let's just, for the simplicity's sake, I say, I really want $1 million. I'm obsessed with $1 million. The moment I say, I want $1 million, it's very subtle. But the moment I identify what I want, I'm immediately in separation. Because the moment I say, I want $1 million, I'm also very aware that I do not have $1 million. Please give me a nod if you understand. It can be, I want a man, I want a baby, I want a house, whatever. Fill in the blank. The moment you say, I want $1 million, I want this, I want that. The moment you do that, you are in separation, my friends. You're focusing on what's missing. The key to manifesting and the key to what I am sharing with you, and it's really not complex. It can seem complex, it's really not complex. The key is creating a feeling or elevated emotion ahead of the experience. So if right now, instead of focusing on $1 million, I focus on feeling total financial and time freedom, and I focus on the opportunities and ultimately how I feel once I experience freedom, once I experience opportunities, once that $1 million in my bank account, that feeling that I experience now ahead of the experience puts me back into the unified field. Oneness source. Once you are together with the source, time collapses, you get there faster. Let me take a deep breath. It's a complex thing that I tried to make very simple. Did you get it? No, you didn't. That's okay. I'm gonna go in a minute. I'm gonna explain it a little bit more so you understand it better. But if you focus on what's missing, instead of focusing on what you already have, you block your flow. Trust me, every single person here is abundant. All of us are abundant right now. If you don't believe me, think of that family in Syria right now that lost everything. Or think of somebody in Ukraine right now that lost everything. I mean, that's just basic, right? We're on some level we're comparing, but at the same time, it's reminding yourself how blessed we are, how abundant we are. So you know what I do every day? And after my meditation, I have a journal. I have journals. I have like hundreds and hundreds of journals that are filled with my writings. Every day I write down how abundant I am. And it's beyond money, you guys. I write down how happy I am, all the blessings, all the magic moments. And I consciously do that because the moment I start writing it down, I feel, Carolina wrote down, feeling. The moment I write down how abundant, how blessed, how lucky, how rich I am, how wealthy, how prosperous I am, I start feeling some type of way. And that feeling puts me back to the source and to the oneness of things. I'm no longer lacking. I'm no longer separate. The feeling is the major ingredient. Hold that thought because we're going to come back to it in a minute. Okay, so focusing on what's missing blocks your flow of abundance. Instead, focus on what you already have. Magnify that. Like the yoga practice. If you focus on the things that you can't do, you're going to stop and give up. Focus on what you can do. In your meditation practice, if you focus on like, oh my gosh, I'm just like, get lost in my thoughts again, you get frustrated right there. The moment you get frustrated, you're in separation. Instead, like, oh my gosh, good job, Albina, you caught yourself. Good job. Good job. Come back to the generous present moment. You can do it. Good job. Do you understand? So always, always, always wrestle your mind. Make yourself sit down, write it down how abundant you are right now. Change the way you think, because nothing in your life changes until you change. Here's the last one, and then we're going to shift gears. And I need to stop talking and we need to experience this. The last one is a get mindset. What am I going to get out of it? Anytime you think of like, what am I going to get out of it? You are blocking your flow. So the opposite of that is the law of circulation. The law of circulation states, the more I give, the more I receive. It doesn't matter. The more I give, it's not only money, giving your love, giving your attention, giving your knowledge, giving your service. Give, because the more you give, the more you receive. Tony Robbins tells this story. It's one of my teachers. I love this story. I did Tony Robbins, like I tend to obsess with things. I did Tony Robbins, I don't know, maybe 25 events I did with him. I heard him say the same shit a million times, y'all. This is 25 live events. I read all his books 15 times. I listened to everything online 25 times. Like, I heard him say all the time, the secret to living is giving. There was like 5 years of my life I didn't understand what that meant until one day I heard it for the millionth time, and it finally I was like, oh, that's what he means. This is what he means. The Tony Robbins is his story. And when he was younger, he still led his seminars, personal growth seminars. And at the time, he wasn't yet Tony Robbins that he is today. So when he was young, he was working around the clock. He was gathering groups of people, maybe 50, 100 people. He's working his butt off. And one day after like an all-day event, he's driving in his car. He doesn't have any money. He's tired. He has nothing left. And he's like crying. And he's like, God, I don't know what else to do. Like, I'm working my butt off. I'm doing everything I know how. Why am I still broke? Like, what's going on? I don't know how much harder I can work. Did anybody have moments like that? I certainly did. In my life, I'm like, God, I don't know what else to do. I don't know. I'm working. I'm doing everything I know how. So Tony Robbins is crying. He's talking to God. And in that moment, he hears, the secret to living is giving. The secret to living is giving. Guys, I heard that story a million times. I didn't get it for a long time. What he meant is the law of circulation. The moment you start giving, you start receiving. And you have to look at your life right now. Where are you giving, but not fully? Like, and how you look at things. Remember, interdependent co-arising, the way you look at things as viewed so it appears, right? Like, I intentionally give. I give my knowledge. I give my attention. I give money. I tithe at church. By the way, every single religion in the world has an element of tithing. You give the first 10%, right? The first, not the very last, the first 10%, you give it back to God. Ultimately, every major religion in the world teaches you the law of circulation, which is the more I give, the more I receive. So if you're thinking, what am I going to get out of it? You block the flow. You block the flow right away. It can be applied not just to the money, the relationship. A lot of times, like somebody told me the other day, I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like she's talking about her boyfriend. What am I going to get from him? And I'm like, honey, like if you look at the relationship only through the lens of what I'm going to get out of him, it's a doomed relationship. In order for you to truly experience love, connection, romance, soul level type of love, you have to give love. Wholeheartedly, love fully, without expecting anything in return. That is the only way you're going to get a return. And the return is going to come so much bigger than anything you can imagine. Every single aspect of life, the law is always at place. Love, money, abundance, blessings, career. What the freak is this, like, quiet quitting? My ass. What the hell? Quiet quitting. These new young, I sound like an old lady right now. Quiet quitting, you know what it means? You show up at work, you do absolute minimum. That's quiet quitting. If you quiet quit, you're going to be broke. Or you're going to be broke. That's it. That's the universal law. When I work, I do 110%. I go above and beyond. I give everything I know how. I do it with passion. I do it with joy. I always have. When I worked at public accounting, anywhere I work, I always give 110%. I give from my heart, wholeheartedly. I do the best job I know how to do. I give all of myself because I know that the more I give, the more I receive. If you half-ass, you block the flow. So quiet quitting inherently, by definition, blocks the flow because you're half-assing. You're doing absolutely bare minimum. And you're going to be broke. That's a universal law. Okay. Any question? Okay, let's take a little break. Let me pause this thing. All right, my friends. So here's the mystery. Here's the magic. This is the supernatural part. The moment you disconnect or let go of the familiar past and predictable future, and you connect to the generous present moment, aka nothing, you connect to the quantum field. The quantum field is a space of no time and no space. It is the realm of unity, of the unified field. So quantum field can also be called the unified field, the source. I call it God, but if you don't relate to that word, you can just call it the quantum. You can call it the unified field. Every single opportunity exists. Every single possibility, not just opportunity, every single possibility exists in the quantum field because there is no time and no space there. When you connect to the quantum and you train yourself not to think past or future, and you're truly in a generous present moment, opportunities come to you in your everyday life in the way you least expect, because you're connecting to the unknown, unpredictable. You're connecting to the mystical. It will come in the way that you can never predict. That is the beauty of it. This is the mystical part of it. And it comes to you better than anything you could ever imagine. Literally better. And when it happens the first time, and you'll connect in your head, oh, this is coming as a result of my meditation, I promise you, my friends, you will never want to stop. Let me give you an example of how I manifested selling my retreat center in Taos. We're going to do this particular meditation tomorrow, but today there are going to be the elements of that in today's practice, and I need to set you up for it first. So in order to manifest anything, or in order to create from quantum, two things are necessary. Write this down. One is a clear intention. Clear intention. What is it that you want? The clear intention creates the electric field in the quantum. Electric field, that means you identify out of all the possibilities in the quantum, you identify which one you want. Electric field alone is not enough. You need the second element, which is elevated emotion. Elevated emotion is how you feel once you already got that thing that you want. Elevated emotion creates a magnetic field. Together, clear intention and elevated emotion create an electromagnetic field that draws it to you. Our body, our brain, our body does not know the difference between what you imagine and what is actually happening. If you don't believe me, close your eyes here for a moment. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Imagine that you are cutting the lemon, and it's a juicy, fresh, fragrant lemon. You go to the kitchen, you take the knife, you take a cutting board, you cut the lemon in half, and you bite into the lemon and you suck on the lemon juice. Open your eyes. If your mouth is watering, raise your hand. Did you actually bite into the lemon? No. Why is your mouth watering? Because your body does not know the difference, what is imagined, what is real. Your body reacts to the thought. So what is happening right now, you, like my mommy, you do this all the time. You worry about something. When you worry, you imagine the worst possible outcome and your body reacts to it. Just like you think of a lemon, you bite into it, your body, it's salivating. When you worry, your body doesn't know that you're imagining it. Your body is producing the hormones of stress, the chemicals of stress. Most of us are addicted to stress, the chemicals of stress. In this meditation, when I'm asking you to do, imagine, elevated emotion is you're imagining what freedom feels like. You're imagining what opportunities feel like. What is the frequency of abundance? You sit there and you sense, it's not thinking, it's sensing. Well, I wonder what is the vibration of abundance? How would it feel like? Actually, the story I'm going to tell you tomorrow. I'm not going to tell the story today. Sit at the edge of your seat, so to speak. But instead, I'm going to use the time in a different way. I'm going to ask you to journal just a little bit because you need this aspect. Otherwise, you're going to get lost in the meditation. So let me unpack the meditation. It's an advanced abundance meditation practice. It's not available anywhere. You won't be able to find anywhere on the internet. You can only unlock it after you've done certain level of events with Joe Dispenza. It is a more advanced meditation, but you can do it because I'm going to catch you up to the level of advance. It will start with a breathing technique. First, it starts actually with you connecting to, you guessed it, nothing. Blackness, nothing. You connect to nothing. So that means that in that nothing, you're not thinking about the past. You're not thinking about the future. You're not thinking about people, problems, what you have to do, taking out trash, none of that, what you're going to eat, what you eat. You're not thinking about anything. You're connecting to nothing, blackness. When you do that, just know that your brain waves are going to slow down. From beta thinking, you're going to connect. If you're successful and really good at it, your brain waves are going to slow down and you're going to get into the trance state. Brain waves are slow. You start imagining things, right? It's possible that you'll start seeing things. That's a good thing. You're tapping into your subconscious mind. The second thing that we're going to do is breath. The breath is very particular. Just follow what he says. Ultimately, the breath, he never says it, but in the language of yoga, you're waking up the Kundalini. You're waking up the serpent that rests at the base of your spine. The energy needs to go from the bottom of your spine all the way to the crown of your head, your pineal gland. In the yoga class today, I already primed you for that. So you just know you're already primed for that. Just do what he says. First, you exhale all the breath out. You pull your belly in and you lock your muscles in there. So lift up the pelvic floor. Do it right now. Exhale. Squeeze everything in. Lift up through the pelvic floor. Then you inhale. And as you inhale, you feel the breath go from the bottom of your pelvis all the way up to the center of your brain. Once you're full, you hold, you squeeze, you lift through the pelvic floor, you pump, 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 you squeeze the belly, pump, 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 and you imagine it touching the pineal gland. The pineal gland is a small rice grain shaped gland at the center of your brain. That's your antenna to the divine. You hold, you lift the energy, you pump, 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 and pump. And then exhale, relax. It's exactly how he's going to say it. You're going to do it several times. Just do it to the best of your ability. The more you do it, the easier it gets, the more skilled you get. Ultimately, we're waking up the Kundalini energy. We're pulling the energy from survival into creation, from the first 3 chakras in your body all the way up to the connection to the divine, to the source, to the unified field. You can call it the quantum field. After that, you're going to breathe into your heart, because the heart is the center of the magnet. The heart is where polarities meet. The heart is where your heart creates electromagnetic field in your body. Heart Institute has proven this. If you just spend 10 minutes of attention, undivided attention to your heart, you breathe into your heart, the energy field around your heart gets bigger, the body gets harmonized, the body gets into rhythm. You open up the channel. You open up the channel, and once the heart is on, that's it. You're pulling that shit to you. It's like a vortex. The heart creates a vortex, Vortex, mama, это как она, воронка. A vortex. A vortex. Your heart is the vortex. The electromagnetic field around your body pulls whatever it is that you want to you. It's a law. The
Funnel.
only thing is the skill. Oh, Laura, you had a question?
No, you're saying the vortex, the funnel, right?
The funnel, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. The only thing, it works, but the difference is how skilled you are. And that's why we do it every day. We do meditation every day, because the more you do it, the more skilled you become. So today you're just going to play with it and see what happens, right? If you've never done the shit before, you may be like, what the heck? Just relax, be curious, be playful. Do not judge yourself. Do not attach to any outcome. Just be curious. Be open to the experience. Then he's going to say, the moment your heart, he gets us into cadence, right? You're in an altered state. You're more receptible. Your analytical mind is turned off. You're tapping into your subconscious. Then you just follow his voice. He's going to say, find the frequency of abundance. Sense it. So just know you are in the 99.999%, right? You're in the space. That space is full of information, is full of frequencies. Do not think your way through it, because you're going to get effed up. You sense for it. You just trust that there is innate intelligence within you. Your body is equipped to decipher that information. Sometimes I would imagine it, or I would be like, okay, well, how does abundance would feel like? So to me, abundance feels like an expansion. It's an opening. It's relaxed. It's knowing with absolute certainty, is assuredness. I actually journaled about it this morning. It feels like joy. It feels like excitement. It feels like I'm taken care of. It feels like gratitude. It feels like I'm proud of myself. I'm in love with myself. I'm in awe. So remember, I talked about the lemon for a reason. The moment you start feeling elevated emotion, your body does not know the difference, imagined or real. So the moment you start feeling these feelings, you become an energetic vibrational match. You become a vibrational match. You lock that shit in. You identify what you want, you pull it in. You pull it in, you pull it. It's a vibrational match. It is Albert Einstein who said, this is not philosophy. Just simply match the vibration of what you want to your own vibration. It's a law that it will come together. That's how you do it. This is the know-how. Then he's going to say, freedom, 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 freedom. Vibration of the freedom, freedom. What does the freedom feel like? You don't think about money. You sense for a sense of freedom. Freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want. Travel, eat, shopping, play, support, give, be generous, have fun, explore. I don't know what freedom feels to you. It's uniquely yours. This is how it feels to me. It feels like confidence. When I'm free, I believe in myself. I'm proud of myself. It's certainty. I created that shit. I feel gratitude. I feel joy. I feel awe. Then there's a part where I did this meditation early this morning. He's going to call for opportunity. He's going to call for opportunity. Here's the part that I don't know. Let me listen for it. Yeah, you need to identify what it is you want. You have to have clear intention. What is it that you want? What is it when you think of abundance? What is it that you want? Because you need clear intention and elevated emotion. What is clear intention? What is it that you want? You have to know it. So elevated emotion will be freedom, abundance, but you have to know what you want. So just write it down. What is it that you want? Don't make it complex. Something simple. Just something super simple. This is your experiment with destiny. Tomorrow we're gonna fine tune it. Today, just think of something. Write it down. What is it that you want? Identify what you want because it's clear intention. You will need it in this meditation, otherwise you're going to get lost. And if that's amount of money, it's fine. That clarity is important. But once you go into the meditation, instead of thinking of money, I need you to think of the freedom, the abundance, love, gratitude, joy. Those are absolutely the ingredients that I needed in order for you to pull it in. Today, you're just going to get a little taste of it. For tomorrow, I'm going to set you up a little bit better with more clarity. Today, the main thing is to feel for the vibration of freedom, abundance, and opportunity. You're going to call the opportunity to you. You don't have to know what the opportunity is. So let me, I know I'm a little confusing you. Anytime you're manifesting or you're interacting with the quantum, it's not one or the other. So if you do one or the other, it's polarity, it's separation. So the key is to do it together. It's not one, not the other. It's both and together. So like your heart is where polarity meet. Your heart is plus and minus, right? Is an electric field. It's plus and minus, and it is nothing at the same time. So in the meditation, let me take a deep breath because this is important and I need to explain it to you in a really correct way. When you do these meditations, it doesn't matter which meditation you do. On the one hand, it is important for you to identify what it is that you want with clarity. But the skill is also hold your attention on what you want, but at the same time being able to not attach to it, let go and surrender it. It's polarity, but it's this and it's both and. I don't know if I'm explaining correctly. So let's say I want something. Let's just for simplicity's sake, I want $1 million. I'm just doing it, whatever, just as an example. The secret is to know what you want, but at the same time being able to surrender it, meaning you surrender it, you give it into the hands of God because God knows how to bring it to you in the best possible way, the fastest, the most efficient, the best way for you. But if you are too attached on how it's gonna show, you're not gonna be successful. So Stacy and Yara, remember Nami at the retreat? She said $1 million, but she said that the $1 million needed to come as a result of the book that she writes. Remember that? Do you remember? So we had a person at the retreat. She said she wanted $1 million, but she was really attached how exactly it would come to her. So she said it has to come from the sale of her best-selling book that she writes. And I told her, why do you care how $1 million comes to you? Why do you care? It's knowing what you want, but at the same time is willing to surrender it and be open for it to come in the ways that you least expect. Because the moment you say, I want that $1 million come from the book that I write, you're predictable, you're familiar, you're dictating your way instead of being open to God's way. Give me just hands if I drove that point home. Understand? But it is important at the same time to know what it is. You can't be like, oh, God, give me whatever. That does not work either. It has to be clarity what you want and surrender at the same time. That's why it's clear intention and elevated emotion. And usually that surrender happens when you're overwhelmed with love and gratitude, when you fully surrender in your trust that God's way is always the best way. So you always say this or something better. Give me, even though you know what I want, but bring it to me in the way that I least expect, because it's coming from the unknown. I cannot predict it. And I trust that your way is better than my way, that you will always deliver in the way beyond anything I could ever imagine. Let me shut up and ask you, please, what questions do you have? We're going to have almost an hour and a half of time. You're going to have a lot of time to play with this. Do your best not to think your way through it. You're going to get lost in your thoughts. It's okay. Just gently bring it back to the generous present moment. Connect to nothing, breath, heart. Feel for the frequency of abundance. Feel for the frequency of freedom. And then call in an opportunity to you. Because it is not the money that we're going after. We're going after the freedom and the opportunity. And it has to come in the way that you cannot predict. Because the quantum is unpredictable. If you're trying to predict it, you're back in the world of matter. Be open for it to come and blow your socks off of your feet, because you're like so blown away by the magic of it, by the mystery of it. Then after all of this is done, you're going to lie down and you're just going to surrender and rest and let your body integrate. You're going to have to relax and let your body integrate. There is innate intelligence within you. So if it goes really well, you will receive the information. Your body will decipher the information, but it needs a little bit of time to integrate it. So that's when you lie down. You do the meditation sitting up, but then he'll tell you, lie down. You lie down so your body can integrate it. And your body knows how to integrate it. Just trust, just relax. It's going to happen. And then in the end, he's going to say, come back to me. He's going to say, come back to a new body, new life. Something like new dimension or something. And what he means by that is your body is absolutely going to change. Because in a moment of meditation, you're receiving an upgrade. So that is the new body. A new life, because once your body is upgraded, you're in a way stepping into a different dimension. Because we're a multi-dimensional being living a multi-dimensional life. There are dimensions. I don't want to confuse you. Just know that shit is going to get really great. I'm not going to confuse you with the dimensions part. Just trust that your life, you're just stepping into a new life. Just like in the yoga practice, in Shavasana, you die. It's a corpse pose. You wake up into something new. You wake up as a new person, a new life. It's something similar to that. And there is elements of the new dimensionality of this experience. I'm not going to confuse you with that stuff because I don't want to overwhelm you. It's already a lot to play with. Use an eyeshadow. I'm going to close my curtains. But before we start, do we have any questions?
Yeah, Bean, I have a couple. this may be too much or too deep, but when I've meditated before, I'll fill spaces that he's talking about. And so what do I do with those? Is that where the frequency is? Do I try to explore those?
Yeah. So the key is to get out of your analytical mind. So when I say get out of your analytical mind, if you had like the measurements on your head right now, once your analytical mind turns off, literally that part of your brain goes dark. Another part of your brain, which is your subconscious brain, will light up. So just know it happens as he takes you through the meditation.
Okay.
Any other questions? One of my other teachers, Jean Houston, she talks about holy imagination. There is absolutely holy imagination in place. On some level, you're imagining what it feels like because you don't know, and it's a good thing. Go ahead and imagine it. God gave you holy imagination for a reason. Trust it, surrender to it, have fun with it, be playful with it. You don't have to understand everything. You cannot possibly understand everything. Just enjoy it. Have fun with it. Be curious about it. Relax into it. Are we ready to start? We can turn off the camera. You can get yourself comfortable. Sit up. It's going to take me a minute to dig it up. So if you need to use the bathroom, this is a good time. Use an eye shade because closing your eyes and eliminating the light helps you kind of turn on a different part of your brain, increase your melatonin. All of that is totally rooted in science. You want to do that. Okay. Make yourself comfortable.